Russia has frequently been in the headlines since President Trump's inauguration. This Sunday, 60 Minutes reports on a story of Russian intrigue that's even stranger than most. Vladimir Kara-Murza was a Russia TV correspondent, and he was based in Washington. He was also a vocal critic of Russian President Vladimir Putin. Well, he suddenly fell ill into a coma with organ failure last month. His wife believes it's yet another attempt to poison him. Kara-Murza spoke with Lesley Stahl last year after the first poisoning nearly killed him.
Vladimir Kara-Murza was an opposition activist on the front lines, protesting Putin's policies, organizing demonstrations and town hall meetings. He knew he was on a dangerous mission. When we met him last year, he told us that one day in May 2015, he learned just how dangerous.
I was in a work meeting with my colleagues in Moscow when I suddenly started to feel really sick, and I went within about 20 minutes from feeling completely normal to feeling like a very sick man, and I don't remember anything for the next month.
You were out for a month?
I was in a coma for a week, and I don't remember anything for a month, and had basically a cascade of all my major life organs failing one after another, just switching off, the lungs, the heart, the kidneys.
He was shuttled from hospital to hospital in Moscow for 2 days as doctors frantically tried to figure out what was wrong with him.
I was at one point connected, I think, to 8 different artificial life support machines, and doctors told my wife that it's only going to be about 5% chance that I'll survive.
But he beat the odds. When we spoke with him last year, he'd been recovering for a year, but he was still walking with a limp from nerve damage. So what happened?
Well, it was some kind of a very strong toxin. We don't know what it was because, with these things, as people who know more about this than I do explain to me, you basically have to know exactly what you're testing for in order to find it.
So they never found the exact compound?
They never did.
Lesley Stahl joins us at the table. I think it's amazing that you even got an interview with him, full face and not in disguise.
This man is fearless. He was poisoned, and that interview was done a year ago, and then he went back right into the jaws of the beast.
Does he have any idea, Lesley, how he got poisoned?
He doesn't. He's an activist, and he was traveling all over the place, having lunches and coffees, and he has no idea.
But
and
how did you get the interview with him, though?
Well, I interviewed him a year ago about another Russian who had died mysteriously, and he came to talk about that and about how he had been poisoned. He thinks he's been, we have to say allegedly poisoned because they never found exactly what it was. And then, I hate to step on my own story, but when he was re-poisoned unbelievably a month ago, we said, oh my gosh, we have this interview. That we did, and so we went back to redo that.
So where is he right now?
He is recuperating from alleged poisoning number 2 in Washington.
And what is the heart of why he is an opponent of Vladimir Putin, why he's become an enemy of the state?
Well, he's been a long-time activist. He's pro-democracy, and he's part of that larger group of opponents, many of whom do end up mysteriously dead or in jail or exiled. So he's just part of that larger amorphous group.
Second time of the alleged poisoning. Why is it so hard to find out what this poisoning is?
We came upon something that was released in one of the WikiLeaks dumps, that the CIA had a document that showed the Soviets, going back to the 1930s, had a laboratory to study undetectable compounds.
Yes.
And that went on for years and years and years.
There's a history of Russian poisonings.
Yes, exactly.
Yes,
exactly. And
Viktor Yushchenko and others,
And usually when they do find what the poisoning was, it was serendipitous. And we have an example in our story, which you have to watch to see.
Well, as he points out, unless you know specifically what you're looking for, you don't know to test for it.
Well, there's one case of a Russian who died, who was connected to this man, who they brought a botanist in, and they found that it was caused by a sort of exotic Himalayan flower. So
President Trump was criticized for remarks that he made about Vladimir Putin during the Super Bowl interview, in which Trump said, there are a lot of killers. What do you think? Our country's so innocent? ? And then, of course, Senator John McCain, as well as other senators, reacted to that. And he referenced Mr. Kara-Murza's situation in response. He's well known in diplomatic circles.
Well, he was in Washington for many years. He was actually a television reporter in Washington. And yes, he knows many of the senators. When he was poisoned, several of them spoke up. John McCain went to the floor of the Senate on his behalf. And there's been sort of a little bit of pressure on President Trump to speak out, and he hasn't. And you know, it's mysterious to everybody why President Trump has not criticized Vladimir Putin. It's part of what's going on right now in Washington. And in the midst of all these questions comes this second poisoning. So it's all intriguing,
Yeah.
to say
Very
the
good
least.
tease.
Yeah, very timely. Yeah. Thank you, Lesley.
Thank you.
And you can see Lesley Stahl's full interview with Russian dissident Vladimir Kara-Murza on 60 Minutes. That's this Sunday at 7, 6 Central, right here on CBS.